The best way to use my voice is to silence it. A year ago, I probably would have told you something completely different, but in this short amount of time, I've completely reversed the way that I think about creativity. You see, the best ideas are executed beyond a unilateral vision, by entrusting others with its direction. What inspired me were ideas, but what empowered me were the people that I shared those ideas with. Because trusting my ideas exclusively, that was a self-inflicted barrier. So today I want to discuss how investing in others and empowering others comes back to strengthen your mission. But first, let me ask you this. We're taught to trust our gut, but what if your ideas can take my ideas so much further? Should I let your imagination take control? Especially when giving up control was the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. We spend many days and nights and hours building a vision, turning it into reality. So why would I hand it off immediately, especially when trusting our gut is the easiest advice to take? And why would you take my advice? Me standing right here, I don't know your story and you don't know mine. But what I do know is that when I forgot what I knew, that's when I felt my ideas begin to move. So let's get moving. I talk to young creative people every single day. People who inspire me in ways that truthfully I can't even fully comprehend. This is my circle. These are the people that I trust. But am I fully exercising my circle if I'm not adopting their advice, implementing that feedback, and ensuring that they are heard? And am I being a good member of their circle? This is where I want to introduce the idea of mutual empowerment. Meaningful human exchanges in which our ideas flourish under the eyes of a greater application. Now, of course, that's easier said than done. So let's be tangible. Let's break this down and let's make sure you walk away today knowing exactly what your next steps are. These are the 3 pillars to mutual empowerment. First is control as a cycle. Gaining control by giving it away. It sounds a bit contradictory though, right? Well, hang with me here. Think about trust. Who do you trust? My best guess is that you trust the people that trust you. You have to give a little to get a little. Control is the exact same way. Think about it this way. Think of a shield that holds your vision together. The more we connect, the greater that shield grows. Again, you and me, we don't know each other's stories. But if we do connect, we can discover maybe holes in our thinking, maybe some unconscious bias that we didn't know it was there. And we can apply new experiences and new ambitions to our idea to welcome more people in. The collaborative environment is where you will find full fulfillment. But you also may be thinking, does including a ton of people in my vision, does that lead to conflict? Well, I'll ask you this. What's the prerequisite to a resolution? Conflict. So don't think of conflict as something negative here. Think of conflict as the catalyst to your resolution. And don't think of control as something that fits in the palm of your hands. Think of control as your catalyst to a resolution. The second pillar is applying your external focus. I work with young creative people every single day, across all areas, across all industries, across all ambitions, and there's one thing that they all have in common. It's that their best ideas, their best moments, their best highlights all come from the unplanned. Because embracing the unplanned, that's where you really fall back in love with your idea. You find love within your audience and you fall back in love with yourself as a creator. I want to share with you a quick story. I talked to one of my favorite creators. She's incredibly smart. She was thinking of a sustainable option to the paper and plastic cups that we have our morning coffee in, which is my favorite part of the day, which is where she got my attention. So I began thinking with her. She was talking about how she was having a hard time learning to invest and market to a wide audience of coffee drinkers like you and I. But she found subtle hints as she was marketing. There was a greater alliance out there, a greater network that would really push her product. The baristas, the coffee shop owners, the people who would actually push and follow and adopt that same sustainable idea. So she took a step back. She applied that external focus and she made sure to invest in that audience. She built an exponential network, a new network to audience to, and found greater fulfillment there. But you may also be thinking, if I'm constantly engaging with people over and over, am I ever going to cross the finish line? Well, I would argue and say that the best never do. And something that the best always do is work on their relationships. That's pillar number 3. Now, this may be a bit easier to define in terms of reciprocity, but think about it this way. In every working relationship that I have, I always like to say I'm their number 1 fan, which I may not be in their eyes, but I tell myself I'm always fighting to be. Because a piece of advice I know you've heard before is that actions speak louder than words. And I won't disagree with that piece of advice, but I will add on to it a little bit. Because if you seek active input, you have to show active consideration of it. Because prioritizing relationships, that dissolves those self-inflicted barriers. That ensures that circular development. But you may also be thinking, we're young, we're new to this, we're creating, let's work on ourselves and our own professional development. And I'll be the first to say, I have the exact same thinking. If I'm gonna work on myself, it's gonna be me. If I'm gonna work on anyone, it's gonna be me. But I'll also share with you one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever received. And that's that your internal growth must outpace your external growth. Lay your foundation. Ensure the collaboration is there, not just the relationships between team members, but who you are as a team member. That foundation is critical and will set you up for positive success in collaboration. Now, you're probably watching today because you understand, like me, that young entrepreneurship and youth creativity is new and it's contagious and it's exciting. And I'd say you probably hold a larger role in society and industry than you may realize. So, if you want to lead, you'll understand and implement mutual empowerment. You'll understand that the days of fierce competition in zero-sum games are over. You'll understand that success is not limited. And you'll understand that our best is just that, ours. The best way to use your voice is to silence it. Because what you do with what you hear often speaks the loudest. Thank you.